Welcome back, travelers. In today's adventure, we take a ride on the Wild Safari Off-Road Adventure at Six Flags Great Adventure, starting at base camp. This video will be pretty much a full video of the trek through the safari and very little pauses. This video was filmed on Saturday morning, and we were on one of the first public trucks into the safari. I will say I think the version of the safari is better than the old car drive-through that this replaced. You do learn a lot more about the animals in a much more controlled environment. I also recommend riding the safari from base camp and not inside the park, as you get the full safari and not a condensed 30-minute tour, missing the nursery section and the baboons. Also, base camp has a reptile house and multiple animal exhibits and bone displays. Come along with us and enjoy the safari, one of the most unique attractions at the park.
Coffee stain on my old passport, smells like stories I can't tell.
Roll it back, chasing through the terminal, shoes untied, you're laughing hard. We trade seats for window magic, the clouds stack up like a postcard.
We gotta take it to every road, every ride, every day. Hands up high, let the world spin wide. I'm a runaway heart, you're a fearless smile. From the gate to the breaking door. Love feels like an amusement park.
We come through. Morning. And up first, the largest animal in North America. They're about 2,400 pounds. And whatever was left of that tree, he is using it as a itching pole, to be honest. So when it comes to your American bison, they're a national mammal in the United States. There used to be tens of millions. That late 1800s, there were less than 500 because during the westward expansion, people thought they posed a threat to the railroads. So they kept hunting them down. Less than 500, late 1800s. Today, though, because of conservation efforts, there are about 192,000 on farms and homesteads and 30,000 in the wild. All right, so you get a good look at them as we all come in. They're all scattered about. Now you'll see that bison is actually shedding their coats. The winter coat is so well insulated during the winter time. They can have a whole snowbank on their back. It does not melt. All of their body heat is kept so well underneath the coat. It's very well insulated, so it will not melt. Get a really good look as we come through. And not only on the American bison, but the largest subspecies of elk is the two. So the Roosevelt elk, they live in separate herds. You have females and your males. The females can live in herds up to 40 to help from a truck mates. Your females will lay 20 eggs in their nest in the ground, and then they have nothing to do with the young. Instead, they leave, and the males are the only ones who incubate, hatch, and raise the chicks. He sits on the nest for 42 days to incubate those eggs on his own. Alright, so get a really good look. And that is the smallest of the rat-type family we have here. We have three. So you'll see the rhea, you'll see the ostriches, and you'll see the emus. We'll talk about them when we see them more, but when it comes to your rhea, they have 3 toes, and that's going to allow them to help them forage. So they eat more of your plants, bugs, anything they can find. And your rhea is only about 30 to 40 pounds. But coming up into Africa, Africa is home to some of the largest, the tallest, the fastest animals in the world. So let's see who we will see in this section. So the first truck is always, we're all in the same boat because I have no idea where the animals actually are in here. They just run around the first thing in the morning. So you guys see something that I don't, let me know. You guys can wait for the gate to close. So there we go. Now, a few different animals that we do usually have here. They are some of the heaviest and largest animals on land, I should say. Pounds of vegetation in a single day. And while your males are a little larger than the females are a little smaller. So a little smaller than 14,000 pounds. Now the trunk of an African elephant is about 6 feet long with 2 trunk alone, there are 40,000 muscles.
Doing.
You see how dirty she is? She'll use that trunk of hers. Your African elephants. And you know elephants are usually poached for their tusks. The ivory tusk, because they are older here, they're well into their 50s. They've been here since 1974. So their tusks are very worn down. And if they wear down, they're not regrown. That is what they're often poached for in the wild. They can be up to 100 pounds each and about 3 feet long. Is what an ivory tusk sits at. At their prime, I should say. These are your Asian water buffalo as we come up. Now the Asian water buffalo are never 20 miles away from the water source at any given time. But we see the domesticated species used for their meat, their milk, their coats. Let's get a really good look on your left. You'll see them on your right side as well. Now their milk is used to clarify milk or ghee. And your Asian water buffalo, they are a true buffalo. So if you guys look at them, and you look at an American bison. So a lot of people call the American bison a buffalo, but it's not interchangeable. So those guys are bison. It's totally next on the right side. The white rhinos. These are specifically the southern white rhino, the only rhino who is not classified as endangered. So as they come up on the right, a group of your rhinos is a crash, terrible life of their horns. But those horns are not true horns like a bison would have, or antelopes that you'll see. These horns are fully made of keratin. Alright, as long as the keratin root stays intact, it continues to grow. That is the same material that they like. So every rhino will have a unique shaped horn. And I see right off the bat, if you guys keep your eyes on the right side, we'll see him as he comes down the line a little more too. But they're going to be a green, black and white facial markings. Those are the Bisa oryx. Bisa oryx, males and females both possess horns that are 3 to 4 feet in length. They are desert dwelling. They have a special ability for them. They can raise their own body temperatures to match their environment up to 116 degrees. That will stop them from sweating and live for a very long period of time without needing any water in the desert. So that's the Bisa oryx. Ah, you have time to look at them. So here we go. So you get a really good look. Source of water. So you'll start seeing on the right side that it's one of the blue wildebeests. Now the blue wildebeest are a little further down the line are named after the elliptical marking on their behinds. It looks like an eclipse. Now the ellipsis waterbuck are water dwelling. They're very hard to see when they're in the shade. They're actually known as the ghosts of the forest, but they have a bright red coat, yellow, so we don't actually know how many there are in the wild. See the fallow deer on the right, but on the left side, those blue wildebeest as well. Your blue wildebeest travel in the largest herds of any animal. They take place in the Great Migration, but just themselves on a regular day. Single file lines in thousands of different columns. That's usually how your blue wildebeest travel. And you're going to see more of the fallow deer mixed in through here, through the Serengeti grasslands as well. So the fallow deer, a lot of the males still have their antlers, and they're shedding them at this point in time. By the end of spring, they'll start growing in their antlers again. And then once they're fully grown, they show off this shoot on the right side. These are the scimitar horned oryx coming up. Your scimitar horned oryx were extinct in the wild in 2000. And in 2016, conservationists put 25 individuals back in Chad, Africa, where they're originally from. Today, their numbers, ongoing conservation efforts, 600 counting in the wild in Chad, Africa again. And they have that same special ability as your Bisa oryx. So I do believe it's an oryx thing where they can raise their own body temperatures to match their environment to help them from sweating. So you have the grand zebras, the smallest subspecies of zebra, on the right side as they come through. And your zebras are actually black with white stripes. The parts that do not have fur will be their muzzles, inside their ears, and above their hooves. That's how we know that when they do have fur, they are black with white stripes. And when it comes to your zebras, my favorite fact about them is they share traits in common with a donkey. More so than a horse, but they're all the same genus. That's the equus or the equine, right? Now the so they're all cousins. And then you have the Tower of Giraffes coming up. And just another reminder, in these giraffes poke their heads in, we're not allowed to touch them. Alright, $2,000 to $5,000 fine if any of us touch any of these animals, okay? So, we're gonna come up. A group of giraffes is a tower. A group of giraffes blocking a roadway would be a giraffe jam, so you might come across that. He is standing in the road. Here we go. Take a really good look at the way they move. The same amount of vertebrae in their necks, though. That is 7, just like us. Left. Alright, on top of a giraffe's head. They do not have horns, they have what are called ossicones. Now, ossicones are just a bony protrusion that come off the top of the head that's covered by skin and hair. Let's get a good look. So when it comes to the resort, they are observed the entire time by people who work here, work closely with the animals. So they would be able to... Serengeti grasslands. You have more of the black buck on the right side. Now down this way you'll find more of your male black buck. Now as they get older and more mature, your black bucks gain a black coat. It's how this comes. A whole lot more of them later. You'll see the ostriches on the right side. Now the male ostriches, black feathers, speed distance is 31 miles per hour. And so as they come up, you get a better look. You have more of a black buck. The most mature male is darker, so you'll see him on the right side. On the left side, you'll get a better ostriches. Also have the largest eye of any animal on land. There's enough food, 20 animals at most. Now when it comes to the black wildebeest, they are all right side of the distance. Behind the feeder, there's that reddish-brown antelope. Now that's a sable antelope. Sable antelopes, instead of running from danger, they run towards it. So they bring their heads down, they charge the animals, and then they throw them over their backs. And that is the only antelope that'll take that defensive stance. And that'd be a full-grown trio, like I said. Males and females take turns in the nest, and if neither mom or dad can sit on the eggs, they bring their female in, and she acts like a babysitter for them. In Kingsland, you have your African lions. We'll see them as they come around. Now these guys are not going to be active. Your males, they often sleep 18 and 20 hours a day. Females, 16 to 18. Big cats, but they have very small hearts compared to their bodies, so they don't have a lot of energy to give. So you'll see them. You'll see them on the right side as they come through. You'll also see them on the left as you come around a bit more. We have 3 prides. Now these are all established prides. If you have an established pride, they don't like outsiders. So get a good look. We have 2 mixed and 1 that is fully males. But a fully male pride is actually known as a coalition. And as they get older, the males with those beautiful manes, they get darker in color. So I'm not actually not. So when it comes to like these guys, it's when they're born, where they're closer, and how well they get along with each other. So that's why you'll have the separate prides. Alright, so you get a really good look. Now the males have the manes. The manes are very thick, they're hardy, they cover most of the upper body, which covers their organs, so they're used like a shield. While your females, their job, instead of protecting everybody like your male does, she doesn't catch something, she'll have to wait days until she finally catches something in the wild, brings it home, and they usually eat up to about, you'll see a lot more of them later. These are bachelor birds out this way of both your black buck and your owldads. Alright, they have thicker horns, a lot more body hair compared to the females. You'll see them later on. Now, they're found throughout the entirety of North America. Now, these are found in 49 of our 50 states. The only state not being physically a part of North America, off the coast, is Hawaii. So they're not found in Hawaii naturally. Alright. You guys take a look on the right side. You can also see more of the sable antelopes too. You didn't get a good look before. And now do have a variety of colors. Now, black, brown, cinnamon, they can be white, but a white black bear is known as a spirit bear. Alright. Just get a really good look on the right. As they come up around the bend, our wardens as we come through on the left. But if you guys keep a look on the right side, the corner, if you guys came back from last year, you may have known that we had cubs last year. These are 1-year-old cubs on the right side. They're a little over a year old now. Now, black bears are usually going to be a little smaller compared to the other bears you'll see today. Now, these guys, they get up to about 300 pounds. They're smaller, they're slender, a little more short compared to the other bears we'll see today. As we close that gate. If anybody's ever seen Jurassic Park, it's kind of like that, where you don't want the other animals to get into any other section, so. Now, I will say your black bears, they're going to be more inclined to eat like fruits and veggies in the wild just on their own. So on the right side, we're coming up to the common eland. Now, the common eland is the second largest antelope in the world. They can reach over 2,000 pounds, but when they're startled, they can jump 80 feet high straight off the ground. And at the top of the gate, where the Velcro sits, that's about 6 feet off the ground. Rough estimation. So they can jump about 2 feet higher than we are. Now, the common eland also run very slowly, about 25 miles per hour. They're the second largest antelope in the world, so they're a little slower, especially in their size. Right? You have more of the fallow deer. You have the common eland again. So the common eland, I will say both males and females have horns, and they have an extra piece of skin on their neck that is called a dewlap. And they show dominance by how well that their legs are. So the louder the joints, the more dominant the animal will appear. And here, Terra Ursa, coming up in the Terra Ursa, land of bear, trails of the brown bear. These are the European brown bears, who are one of the most widely spread subspecies of bears in the world. That being said, the American bison and your European brown bears are two of the animals that are featured on our Save an Icon program, which I'll talk a little bit more about that once we get to an area. Leaving, talk about it. So as we come up, we're going to make our way through, and your first good look is usually on the left side. You have to go away from the clothes. Now these guys, they're between 500 and 600 pounds, so they're already larger than the black bears we saw. They're going to be smaller than a grizzly bear. Now, two separate types of bears, right? So European brown bears, they're found throughout Europe and Asia. We'll get through. We'll come up on the left side and get your first good look.
Not the brown bear, the other bear.
Keep your eyes peeled on the left side as well.
I think it was the other bear.
Now that's a female right there. She's going to be a little smaller in size compared to the males. Now, during hibernation, these guys can reach up to about 1,200 pounds. They are huge. They eat as much as they can before hibernation. Hibernation occurs during the winter months when food is most scarce. They can sleep up to 6 months, I found out. It's incredible to me. Half the year. Now, these guys, they are also an opportunistic omnivore, but they'd rather eat meat, fish. They travel through such vast claws. So they also have very large paws that they can use like shovels. So their talent would be shoveling or digging. Looks like they're getting closer to our gate out. Alright, so get a good look. Good last look. Now that hump on their back, in between their shoulder blades, that is a muscle they'll share in common with the grizzly bear. So they have a few common similarities with your grizzlies, but they're two separate animals. Another one on your right side. You see how he's a little more sun-kissed, that blonde coloring? They only come in bright. By any chance, it's an instrument. It's an instrument, it's an aboriginal instrument that's actually made from a hollowed out eucalyptus tree. Alright, you have that. It's a very bellowing instrument. So it's usually used in like horror movies and score for horror movies. But didgeridoo pass is our Australia. And Australia, home to two different animals here. You have the red kangaroos, who are the largest marsupial in the world, and the emu, who is the second largest of your rat-type family. So we'll wait for that gate to close.
I don't know why it's auto shop fixed. That is auto shop calling
An animal, no, Billy Bird, they have a excellent swimmers. And we have actually one over here on the right side. Get a really good look. Unlike other rat types that we saw, the rhea, the ostrich, they have very big, beautiful wings. Your emus do not. So there is a small portion of their feathering that comes off their body that's about this big. That's their wing. That is a vestigial wing. Rather useless. They cannot use it for anything. They don't use it for balancing themselves. I mean, if something gets way too close to it, it might use it as a self-defense, but that's very, very little. Yes. Yeah, so like they box, yeah. But it's not the way that we know it. So what they do basically is they sit on their tails, which have a lot of muscle on it. So they sit up, and they'll kind of just bat each other like this with open hands. They just keep pushing each other, but then they use their feet. Their feet is what's the dangerous part of it, because they have a lot of muscle in them. So they do technically, but it's not for territory, it's for the females. So you'll see the kangaroos, kind of mixed up. So you'll see them on both sides of the vehicle. You'll also see the emus again. Now you'll either see them laying down or jumping around. Unlike us, where we do not have fused hip bones, your kangaroos do, we can move our legs any way we please. They have to move their legs at the same exact time. They can jump 20 feet away, 10 feet high because of that. And you have your jacks. They're the ones who are red in color. They're 6 feet tall of that population. And that's what you'll see today. So the Siberian tigers here made national news 4 years ago. Mom had a litter, 5 cubs. Usually, litters are as large as 2 or 3 cubs. But the 5, they boosted the whole population. There are 4 females, 1 male. Your tigers are usually a very solitary and territorial animal. They do not like sharing their spaces. Now, when you have your bonded siblings, like what you see on your right side, you might see a bonded pair on your left side as well. If they have a sibling that they get along with well growing up, they'll stay together. If they find a mate later on in life, they'll stay together, but for the most part, tigers are very solitary. Matter of fact, when Mom weaned these cubs off of her, she wanted out of there quick, because she did not like being around other tigers. So she's a single lady, she lives on her own, and that's just the way she likes it. So while you have these 2 over here on the right side, if you guys take a look on the left side, you'll see a really cool. We have your nilgai, owldads, black bucks. You might see another llama here. Yes, it's on the right side. First up are the nilgai. The nilgai is known as the blue bull. They are from India, Pakistan, Nepal. They are known as a sacred animal, so they are not hunted by humans. Now, there is a lesser balance in their areas because those guys skyrocketing in nature because their natural predator would be the Bengal tiger. Bengal tigers are declining in population. So every ecosystem, every environment has a very fine line, the balance where you need your predators, your prey, because if one goes off balance even just a little bit, the entire ecosystem collapses and tries to rebuild itself. So we'll come through. So we have a lot of your black bucks, but on the right side, in the distance, there's actually American bison on the opposite side. That's a black buck. They run about 55 miles per hour and they jump about 6.5 feet high. That black buck could. So on the right side up the hill, you're gonna look at your American bison, but beside them on our side are yaks. Now the yak over here on the right, a heavily domesticated species, over 14 million on farms and homesteads. Right, so you get a really good look. They're using their at this moment. That's how you tell mom and the babies apart if they're males. And over here on the left side, what's there? You see anybody? Well, there's Medusa right there. And then we come around. It looks like as we get closer to the barn, you'll be able to see the olive baboons. Now the olive baboons you can see during the drive-through safari when you drove your own cars, animals were all out. The baboons, their grandparents, great-grandparents, were the ones that tore apart cars piece by piece. Now the olive baboon is about 50 pounds, 3 inches in their fangs that make them a very tantalizing animal coming up to your cars. fully apart them, piece by piece, vinyl siding and roofing, front and back bumpers, windshield wipers, radio antennas, just anything that they can get their fluffy little hands on, they would tear off your car. Now when it comes to your baboons, they do travel in groups that are called troops. As large as 150 baboons. And because they are an opportunistic omnivore, just like we saw those bears, your baboons, if you place them in an environment...
That concludes the fun adventures, travelers. Until our next adventure, like, subscribe, and ring the bell notification to be notified about our future uploads. Thank you for watching.